Welcome back to the 9th Gym program, and today we are kicking off the Series 8 guide series with Groudon. Groudon is a pretty crazy Pokemon and one of the best restricted Pokemon that we have access to, so let's talk about it. So we have one ground typing. One Groudon is ground typing, which is pretty interesting. You know, seems like it should be fire, but it's not. It's ground type, which is cool. We do not have access to the Primal Beings form, which is a good thing because those things are insane. So yeah, not having that is pretty good for this Pokemon, actually. I mean, obviously this Pokemon would like to have its primal form, but you know, for the meta in the case of, you know, gameplay, it's probably a good thing we don't have it. Anyway, ground typing is pretty good, you know, only having 3 weaknesses of water, grass, ice. All 3 are very big in the meta, however, so, you know, keep that in mind. But we do have an immunity of electric, which is also a very big type in the meta, and also 2 resistances of poison and rock, which are, you know, medium types in the meta, which are pretty good. This ability, this Pokemon does have a really good ability, being Drought, being able to activate the weather to intense sunshine whenever it's brought into battle, which is very, very good. You know, Weather Wars is coming back. We have this, we have Kyogre, and we have the young airlock boy himself, Rayquaza, which is going to be pretty interesting, seeing that trio in the meta once again. Being a big Weather Wars, you know, Torkoal is out of a job. He's just gone. You know, poor old Politoed, just, yeah, they're gone. So, yeah, I mean, you can still use Weather on your team without those, like, these new Pokemon, using a different restricted Pokemon, but yeah, it's looking like these are going to be your picks. Anyway, Groudon is pretty crazy as far as stats go as well. Looking at general bulk, it's very, very strong at defense 140. This Pokemon is taking physical attacks like nothing. HP 100, which is very, very solid as well, and special D at 90. Overall, very, very, you know, big stats. It's a legendary, a main box legendary, so of course its stats are going to be crazy, but they're crazy. Attack at 150 is absurdly strong for a base attack. You invest into this, and your Precipice Blades are going to be crazy, as well as your Fire Punches, and after a couple of Swords Dance, or one Swords Dance, you're just killing everything, and that's looking pretty good. Special attack at 100 doesn't really matter. Speed at 90 is pretty solid, a pretty good mid-speed. A lot of these restricted Pokemon you'll see at a pretty good mid-speed range, which is very interesting for the meta. It adds a lot in that 140 to 180 range, which is really interesting because we have a lot in that 150 to 200 range. So we are moving into an even more top-heavy speed tier meta, but, you know, that's okay for me. That's cool. Anyway, that's about it for the overview. Let's go ahead and talk about the movesets that I have prepared. So, actually, I just realized that they're off screen a little. Yikes. Okay, so these are the builds that I have today prepared for Groudon. There are 2 of them. One is going to be very, very generic and easy to do. Just 252, 252, 4. A lot of players will tend to move towards this in the early stages of restricted. I'm going to be using a lot of these kind of spreads because the spreads are going to develop a lot. But I did still develop a big, you know, an interesting spread for today. So that is, you know, something. And why is this still so off the screen? Anyway, Groudon, the first one we're talking about is the 252, 252, 4. It's very easy. It's just going to go ahead and show you the general idea of Groudon, what it's doing, and is pretty good. So, Life Orb, Groudon, this will be great for maxing. This will be great for not maxing, still just doing very good consistent damage with this Pokemon. We have Precipice Blades, which is very good. Fire Punch, Swords Dance, and Protect, which is going to be a very, very early, very basic set that you can possibly do. Swords Dance is really good. Being able to make this +2 just kills everything, which is crazy. You could even invest into bulk for a Pokemon like this with Swords Dance, being able to just go off the charts in you know, attack after doing that, and still having a lot of bulk, so that's another idea. But for now, we just want speed and attack for this one, since it is going to be mostly a Dynamaxing set. Groudon in Sun is going to get rid of one of its weaknesses of water, which is very, very good, and then you just are doing a huge amount of damage while not taking too much damage, because it is a bulky Dynamax Pokemon, which is really, really good. So that's kind of the name of the game for the beginning set of Groudon. Also, Jolly Nature, of course, just to make it as fast as possible. Now, for the second build, we do have, it is a little bit weirder, you know, in terms of just what it does. We did go Groudon at wide lens for this one, Precipice Blade as well as Rock Slide. How do you guys say Precipice Blade, by the way? I just call it Precipice Blade because it's easy, but how do you pronounce it? I'm curious. Anyway, wide lens with Precipice, with Rock Slide and Fire Punch. Fire Punch doesn't really get that. Actually, it is, yeah, it's 100 accuracy. But still, good to know that is something that it can do. Wide lens giving us an additional 10%, so things like Precipice Blade does actually only have 85% accuracy, so taking another 8.5, you're looking at around 92.5, 93.5, which is actually very solid accuracy. So it makes your Rock Slide and Precipice Blade very, very accurate, which is good. The spread is a little complex, but it's just a starting spread. The spread will definitely develop more throughout the format, but this is what I went off of for a couple of different damage calcs that I was preparing. So we have EVs at 108 HP, 244 attack, 100 defense, 52 special D, and 4 speed, being Adamant Nature, just to do as much damage as possible. So let me explain this build a little bit. So I went into HP, defense, and special D for a certain couple of spreads to minimize the damage that Kartana does, to make sure I live Kyogre and Venusaur. Those are the spreads that those were the main damage calcs that I put into motion for doing that. So yeah, wide lens is kind of, not really for a Dynamax. This is more so a set where you set Groudon here, and then you have Charizard or Venusaur next to it, Dynamaxing, so that Groudon is just doing really good continual damage with Precipice Blades, and Rock Slide hitting good flinches on slow Pokemon. It's overall a pretty solid build. I think it's cool. Maybe I'll go more into speed in the future, maybe less attack potentially as well. So that's just a couple of ideas for Groudon. Pretty good stuff. I like it. I think it's cool. Let's move on. So those are my two sets. Let's talk about some customization that we can possibly have. So this Pokemon does have a good bit of coverage moves that are really solid. We have things like the Thunder Punch, Hammer Arm, Giga Impact, Brick Break, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, Iron Head, and Stone Edge. So much there. Very, very good. We also have Substitute. That's one that I meant to put in, but I forgot. All really cool things. A lot of coverage. If you're looking for a Dynamax and Groudon, you have a lot of coverage to use a good bit of max moves. You can go for an Iron move there to be able to supplement your defense and special defense. You have speed control in the form of Max Strike. You have damage deafening, you have damage doing, lowering your opponent's stats with things like the Shadow Claw. You have Giga Impact. You have Brick Break or Hammer Arm to be able to set up for more damage. Overall, it has a very deep move pool, so it's definitely something you would like to explore, filling out on your team, switching it up, trying different moves is good stuff. A couple of different items we have here as well. Choice Band is a good idea, but Choice Band saw so much play in the past just because Precipice Blade Choice Band was crazy, but now we do have Dynamax, so that's another option, but Choice Band is still definitely an option. And then also Pinch Berries are very good for restricted Pokemon with a lot of bulk investment and stuff like that. It's always going to be good. Pinch Berries are good. Anyway, that is it for the actual movesets. Let's go ahead and talk about these two synergetic Pokemon in the corner, in the bottom right corner real quick. So first off, we have Venusaur. Venusaur is going to be really good for this Pokemon. Being able to take advantage of its sun with Chlorophyll, which is very good. Being able to be very, very fast Sleep Powders, fast Frenzy Plants, and the max G-Max move of itself, Vine Lash, being able to do consistent damage throughout the game. With that, plus Precipice Blades, there's a lot of damage to be dealt. It's good stuff. Next, we have the Charizard. Charizard, obviously, as well, has solar power, so it is going to be taking advantage of that Drought as well, which is very good. It also, gets rid of its water weakness, which is a very good thing to have. So these Pokemon like each other a lot. Anyway, that is it for this slide. Let's go ahead and move on to speed tiers. Speed tiers are wildly changing. Like I said, we have a lot more in this 150 to 160 to 170 range of restricted Pokemon. We even have Xerneas and Veltal right above where you can see here. So a lot of things moving, things changing around. But here we are at 156 at max speed, which is not super fast, but it is pretty fast. On the same speed tier as Kyogre, of course. And outspeeding a good bit of Pokemon, things like Excadrill, the form change Rotom, Duraludon, which might make a comeback for, Follow Me Xerneas. And then also outspeeding all of these other Pokemon that are on the low speed tier, things like the Dialga, Giratina, All Forms, Ho-Oh, Groudon, Kyogre, Reshiram, Zekrom, all of these are going to be on that 110 speed tier. However, if they do invest speed, then they will be up here at that 156 range, so that's pretty interesting. Now, of course, if you don't invest speed, you're going to be at the 110, so if you are using the build that's like the wide lens build that I have, then you'll be down here at the speed tier, so keep that in mind. You will still be outspeeding some good Pokemon, things like Cresselia, Tapu Fini, the Rillaboom, and DDF. Tapu Fini, a whole bunch of good Pokemon down at this 105. 105 is a pretty, big speed tier to be at, pretty populated, so is good. Anyway, things that are outspeeding the Groudon Kyogre at that 156 is things like Lando T, Rayquaza, Tapu Lele, the Lunala, Solgaleo, Xerneas, Yveltal, those Pokemon, a bunch of things in that 165 to 200 range. Kartana, you got Terrakion, you got Blacephalon, you got Naganadel, you got Garchomp, Nihilego, a whole bunch of Pokemon in that speed tier that is going to be outspeeding your Groudon, so don't expect to outspeed Kartanas. You're just not going to outspeed them. They're getting you. Anyway, that is it for the speed tiers. Let's move to damage calcs. So as far as damage calcs go, the first three are going to be defensive with the defense spread, and then the last three are going to be offensive with the offense spread. Pretty, makes sense. Anyway, so let's start it off. So we have 252 plus special attacking Life Orb, Venusaur Max Overgrowth. This is going to be 150 BP. That's going to be the super damaging move, the Vine Lash. It is hitting 84.6 to 99.7, which is very, very solid, meaning we live that Dynamax to guaranteed to hit KO. Now, like I said, with the wide lens build, you don't really want to Dynamax it, so you don't want to be in the face of Venusaur Max, but that can be a late game thing. It can happen, so I just wanted to make sure that calc was there, which is good. Also, if you want to go for like Life Orb instead of wide lens and then still that spread, you are still able to live the Venusaur attack, and then maybe like a Fire Punch or Max Flare can take it out with Life Orb. So a couple of different ideas there. Also with Sun, of course, it's there. Next we have Kartana Max Overgrowth at 0 attack. So this is before it really does anything. Most spreads currently are using 0 attack. Maybe they'll move more towards attack. But into our 108 HP, 100 defense Groudon, non-Dynamax hitting 89.9 to 107.9. I tried to minimize this damage calc as much as possible, but we are still ending on a 37.5 chance to OHKO. Don't face up against the Kartana. It's not a good matchup unless you're Dynamaxing, in which case you're still taking a lot of damage, but be wary that it'll kill a non-Dynamax Groudon. I think does a lot of damage. Anyway, next we have another one that I was happy that we could do. We have 252 plus special attacking Kyogre Max Geyser into our 108 HP 52 special D Groudon in Sun, non-Dynamaxed, hitting 83.5 to 99.4, which is a guaranteed to a KO. Very good thing to know. Very good thing to note for Groudon. You can live Kyogre attacks, which is good. Next, we have -1 from Intimidate, 252 plus attack Groudon Precipice Blade into the 236 HP and 4 defense Incineroar, hitting 134 to 162, which is a 67 to 81% chance to do about that much damage. Guaranteed to a KO. Something good to note, Incineroar is definitely going to be picking up in pace, being consistently on many teams. So, yeah, be careful of that. And after an Intimidate, you're not doing too much damage, so keep that in mind. Anyway, next we have 252 plus attack Groudon Precipice Blades into a 4 HP 0 defense Regieleki, and hitting 205.1 to 243.5%. Guaranteed to hit KO, or guaranteed OHKO, not to hit KO. Guaranteed 2 times OHKO. So even if they have screens up, like if they have Reflect up, you're still taking that boy out if it doesn't have investment. Good things to note. Anyway, next we have +2 from Swords Dance, 252 plus attack Life Orb, Groudon Max Flare. That is a lot of things that we have to have. In Sun, by the way, so a lot of things that we have to have. But into the 252 HP Dynamax Calyrex Ice Rider in Sun, we are hitting 120 to 142%, which is a lot of damage and is a guaranteed OHKO against the very bulky boy Ice Rider. Very good thing to note. We can OHKO Dynamaxed Ice Rider in Sun with Life Orb and +2 from Swords Dance. Very good thing to know. Anyway, that is it for the damage calcs. Let's go ahead and talk about single spotlight real quick before we end the video. Groudon is, of course, going to be good in singles as well. Being a Life Orb Dynamaxer is the name of the game here. We have Swords Dance when your opponent's switching out because they're spooked from the very intimidated Groudon ahead of them. We have Precipice Blades as well as Stone Edge and Fire Punch. Looking pretty good there. We have 252 attack and 252 plus into speed. Left over 4 into HP because this will be a Dynamaxing Pokemon. Now, if you're playing singles that they don't Dynamax, this set probably still works. Honestly. Maybe go Choice Band and then an attack instead of Swords Dance. A couple of options there. Anyway, that is it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Go down to the comment section. Tell me if you're going to be using Groudon, if you're going to be using any other kind of restricted Pokemon. If you want to see guides for restricted Pokemon. I have a couple in mind that I'm going to be doing, like, you know, right off the bat, the big banger boys of things like Groudon, Kyogre, Xerneas, Yveltal, Mewtwo, a bunch of them that are going to be this week and next week, but we're doing daily guide videos, so if you want to see stuff like that, comment it down below. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. It makes a huge difference. Go into the description and click on all those links and follow all those things. It makes a big difference. Thanks so much. Hope you have a good week, and goodbye.